Thanks for watching my YouTube channel. Today we'll touch on the popular topic that if we don't cover it now, we might need to wait for many years before mentioning it again. Yes, we are talking about this run of onboard fever for residential projects, and we are very close to the end of it. First of all, let's recap what happened for the current wave of collective sale. From May 2016 to July 2018, there is a total of 67 private residential projects sold on Bloc. There were already signs of slowing down even before the introduction of new cooling measures. Yes, there were 34 on Bloc deals closed in the first 6 months last year, but during the same period, there were also 30 on Bloc tenders closed with no bid. The success rate is only a bit higher than 50%. JL said by November last year, at least 60 sites have closed their tenders without finding a buyer. After the cooling measures, apart from some commercial on Bloc deals, only 2 residential cases closed. The 32 owners of Phoenix Heights offered an 8% discount to sell their homes to OKP Holdings for $33 million. Waterloo Apartments was also sold at $131 million to the Fragrance Group, which have applied for a change of the property zoning from residential to hotel use, so it is also considered a commercial deal. The media are doing all they can to help promote ongoing on-Bloc projects for free. Every other day we read from the news that the collective sale committee of a condo is going for a second, third or fourth attempt to go on Bloc. Some are giving up to 22% discount to attract potential buyers. Some are hiking up the price to get the 80% rolls they need to go on Bloc. Aspiring and Bloc owners are all eager to get on board the last train. Yet developers are closing the gates. They have more than enough land plots to spare after their buying speed at government land sales and collective sale for 2 straight years. Developers' hands are full. Many are close to the maximum limit of borrowing from banks. They need to sell existing projects and clear unsold units. Above all, July's cooling measures make the developers pay 5% more or a total of 25% in ABSD. With the new ULA guidelines, developers are made to sell new projects with fewer but bigger size units. The profit margin is so thin that it doesn't justify their efforts to take in more risk in a challenging market. There is a complete mismatch of costing and timing between the developers and the on Bloc sales committee. The gap between the buyers and sellers has never been so wide. Imagine you are eating out for dinner. Developers are a bunch of hungry patrons queuing in front of a restaurant waiting for their queue number to be called. On Bloc hopefuls are all the available dishes in the order menu. When you're hungry, you tend to order a lot of dishes and you won't be too concerned about the price. You finally get a table and one by one the dishes have arrived. While you're eating, you may still order some more if you think you can finish them. While the patrons are almost done with their dinner, the chef finds that it has prepared too much ingredients for the day. The restaurant owner doesn't want to keep the leftovers for tomorrow, so he asks the waiters and waitresses to talk each table into ordering more food, with prices of their dishes being lowered this run. But the timing is not right. Customers are already very full and really can't eat anymore. They are now more concerned about how to clear the leftover food on their tables than ordering more food. The dishes are cheaper now, but they are not free. Besides, they don't want to spend more, put on unnecessary weight, or suffer from indigestion later. The nearer to the restaurant's closing time, the more desperate the waiters and waitresses to market the dishes. But we all know that the patrons are not going to order more. Why? Because there is a mismatch in supply and demand, expectations and timing. When earlier this month I read the headline Trinity Garden $907 million collective sale to Yangnong MCL West up successfully, I thought they have signed a record on Bloc deal. But I suddenly recalled that Trinity Garden was already sold in early 2018. I didn't know that there are hiccups when the number of residential units in the initial plan was not approved. The owners waited for another 9 months before the deal was finally closed. In fact, the project's first on-board attempt was back in 2007. It was a long 12 years before the owners realized their on-Bloc dream. but others are not so lucky. After the announcement of the cooling measures last July, developers backed out from the $60 million deal of Taekwonville along Upper East Coast Road and the $57 million purchase of Fairhaven in District 9. Last month, the 40 owners of Empress Apartments sued Aussie Holdings, who wanted to pull out from the $95 million on-board deal. There are two mysteries in the Empress Apartment case. Firstly, it is not the first time Aussie bought an on-board project or multi-agent Hutchins booked a collective sale. How likely that both of them make the same calculation mistake in their redevelopment plan? Secondly, Aussie got the approval to build 112 units instead of the original planned 120 units. With the difference of 8 units, 700 square feet each, it is at most 10 million impact on sales and the balance sheet. How convincing is this excuse to call off the deal? Whatever the real reason behind, it's a lose-lose situation for Aussie, Hutchins, and all the owners. It only benefits the lawyers representing both sides. There are over 7,000 owners who managed to sell their homes in this round of on-board wave. Each pocket on average 2.5 to 3 million. Still remember last year, a property agency representative said on-board owners will not only buy 1 unit, but they can potentially buy 2 at new launch. The reality is, developers only managed to sell 8,795 units in 2018. That is 17% lower than 2017. Where have all the cash-rich on-board owners gone? As I mentioned in my previous podcast, owners in the last round of on-board in 2007 were mostly from the core central region. They used their windfall to upgrade and buy more properties. But for this round, on-board owners sold their homes in RCR and OCR and used their money to downsize or right-size. Remember in 2007, there were developers that gave priority to on-board owners to buy first at the newly developed projects. This is not heard of this time. Many owners are near their retirement age and no longer have the borrowing power to buy properties. They will most likely downsize to smaller and affordable HDB flats with no loan and save up the remaining cash for retirement. That's the reason why so many on-board hopefuls are desperate to sell their homes this round. The next one is likely to be a decade from now. If they are in their 50s, they have to wait until they are in their 60s or even approaching 70. It is therefore critical to cash out now so that they can retire comfortably. Last week, Singapore Department of Statistics just released the key household income trends. There is a sensitive figure that the media reports fail to point out. It is the percentage of households with no working person that is increasing every year at an alarming rate. It is 9.7% in 2005, 10.8% in 2006, 11.8% in 2007, and 12.1% last year. The Singapore population is aging rapidly and more are joining the retirees every year. A final question, who are the true winners of this round of on-board fever? It's no doubt the middleman. Those who have large on-board sales teams and manage to broker the record big deals. They include JLL, Knight Frank, Colliers, Hutchins, and Emmental. Of course, there is another key party which never miss a big share of revenue from the property market. In the financial year 2017, the amount collected from stamp duty, mainly from property launchers and homeowners cash out of collective sales, increased 50% to contribute 4.9 billion to inland revenue. And did you watch the Singapore Budget 2019 on Monday? Did you hear what Mr. Heng said? The financial year 2018, the government originally expected to have 0.6 billion deficit forecast a year ago. Now it expects a surplus of 2.1 billion, mainly due to higher than expected stamp duty collections and suspension of the high-speed rail project. What is the government saying? We were expecting a deficit after we introduced new measures to tame the growing market, but we are surprised to see developers, buyers, and on-board owners paying more despite all the challenges. It is as good as saying we have increased prices to drive away customers, but our loyal customers still come back and ready to buy more at higher prices. Wow, I really love this. That's all I have for today. Remember to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Take care and see you next time.